Stand by, recording in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to EHC TV. I'm Abby Hathorn.
And I'm Khalil King, exceedingly jolly to join you this holiday season. Evan, what the heck are you doing back there?
Looking for my sweetheart.
Okay, well, Abby, I have just one question for you today. Are finals being naughty or nice to you this term?
Totally naughty. I'm so over it. There's one particular class that's just totally stressing me out, but it's going to be okay. We're going to get through it. We have one semester left until I graduate, so I think I'm going to survive. How are your finals treating you?
The one word I can say to you is extra credit. That's going to be
good,
going to be the theme for the rest of my semester.
Yeah.
So, yeah, who do you have on the show today?
I have Sierra Howell on set with me today to talk about her senior project that she's doing. They're making a documentary about Cuba when they went there this summer, so it's pretty interesting. Who do you have on set with you today?
I have a women rugby player, Lauren, today. So it's going to be unique to have another teammate on board, not to be biased yet again.
Yeah, that's okay.
We will now pass it over to Will Seidel with the news.
Hello, I'm Will Seidel bringing you today's news update. Both the men's and women's teams are off to a great start in basketball, and a big part of that is the superb coaching by Coach David Wilson of the men's team and Coach Ann Crutchfield of the women's team. But you can learn more about these two coaches by tuning into this conversation hosted by Teresa Keller. Keller will be hosting Wilson at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, December 6th, and will then host Coach Crutchfield on December 13th at the same time. Due to Christmas holidays, the business office will be extending the AP voucher submission date for 5 days from December 13th to the 18th for the final accounts payable processing. Checks will be distributed on Thursday morning, December 21st, before the college closes for the holidays. For any more information, please contact Sherry Lowry or Teresa Landers. Students, faculty, and staff, winter is here, which means snow will be on the horizon very shortly. Take caution, especially for students. If there is snow around your car that must be shoveled in order for you to leave, you might have to do that yourself. The college is working on the matter, but as of now, due to the risk of damaging students' cars, students will be dependent on shoveling out their cars if it comes to that, so please take caution. With the semester coming to a close and this being our last show of the semester, our own Sam Mungai wanted to leave you guys with some important tips on traveling back home, as he is an avid traveler himself. Rule number 1, plan ahead. Therefore, when your last final exam is done, you could just leave and go home with no planning further. Number 2, avoid peak dates for both traveling on the road and in the air. The peak dates are the days where the heavy travel occurs, so please avoid them at all costs. Number 3, make sure you fill your car ahead of the travels, because some gas stations might be packed with cars trying to fill up or maybe just sold out of gas. Either way, fill up beforehand. That's all I got for you guys today. If you have any information you would like to share, you can email me at waseidel16@ehc.edu, or you can tweet me at thelastwill10. Thank you guys for tuning in. For the news update, I'm Will Seidel. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next semester.
Hello and welcome to this feature interview. I'm Abby Hathorn. On set with me today, I have my friend Sierra Howell to talk about the documentary that she's been working on all semester from when they went to Cuba this summer. Welcome to the set.
Hi.
So I know that you've been working on this project since y'all went to Cuba, but before we get into all the details of that, what was it like getting to go to Cuba? I mean, since it's been, obviously, we haven't been able to go there in a long time.
It was definitely a unique experience. There were about 20 students and 2 faculty advisors that went with us, and we spent 2 weeks traveling around Cuba, and it was an adventure for sure. Language barrier was definitely kind of our hardest thing to deal with, but also getting to go there and experience something that not a lot of Americans, let alone 21-year-olds, get to go experience in general. It was a lot of learning what is customary there and what isn't. A lot of the times they kind of were like, oh, those are definitely Americans over there. But it was such a good experience to go and see like what isn't really written in history books, or what you don't actually get to see, because a lot of that is kind of like buffered out because of the fact that we never really got to go there, and we haven't seen what Cuba is really like for such a long period of time.
Yeah, we talk about how like Cuba's supposed to be like this time capsule. Is it really kind of like when you go there, everything looks like it's in the 50s?
Oh no, it's great. They have like super old cars, and like all their architecture is definitely not modern per se. And it's definitely kind of like they got stuck in this little time zone. They don't have fancy equipment. We got to visit a radio station. They don't have state-of-the-art equipment at all. They just kind of have what they can get. And I think that's the most unique part of Cuba, is that even though they kind of got stuck in this non-trading back and forth with countries that were developing so much, they got into this, well, I guess we're just going to have to make do with what we have. And they've created a huge economy on it. And it's actually pretty cool to see how some things are changing. Like, a lot of the companies and things that are there are privately owned instead of like owned by like the corporate Cuba, I guess is a good way to put it. But it's definitely kind of stuck in the 50s and 60s, and it was actually really cool to go and experience that.
Now, I know that you kind of knew going into Cuba that y'all were going to be doing this documentary. What are some of the steps that you made while in Cuba to sort of prepare for that, even though it hasn't necessarily gone that way now?
In Cuba, well, there was a lot of preparation beforehand. Obviously, we had classes every other Sunday for 2 hours, planning and organizing and separating into groups and talking about themes and ideas that we wanted for this documentary. And then once we were kind of in Cuba, everything kind of changed because we realized that we actually didn't want to just go there and be focused on filming and focused on having a documentary. A lot of us really wanted to experience what was going on in Cuba and how we were going to, how we weren't ever going to be able to go back there again unless we went on like another study abroad trip or something like that. And so a lot of us were kind of just like taking it in the moment. And so I think at that point, we started taking pictures and video of things that we would want to remember personally, which wasn't necessarily the plan when we went to Cuba, which has kind of created some issues in the post-production process. But even then, it still created a great storyline for the documentary.
So I know that the storyline has kind of changed. What are some of the challenges that y'all faced going through this editing process? Like, I know that like some of the interviews aren't great. Some of the documentary, like the interviews that people did while in Cuba weren't exactly great. But how are y'all kind of recovering from that to create this documentary?
The process has been a process. Dr. Mark Finney is our advisor for it, and he has a very peculiar way that he wants everything to be. And so me and Katrina Wagner, who is my co-post-producer, co-person, she and I have been trying to work towards this. And I think with us, it's structure-wise, because we were going to originally do it in a chronological order, because that's what makes sense. But once we kind of got all the footage organized and looked through it, we started to realize that more towards the end of the trip, people weren't filming as much, just because I think we realized, oh, we're only going to be in Cuba for 5 more days. Like, let's soak up as much as we can, and not be on our phones or not have them out, which was kind of helpful because there isn't Wi-Fi in Cuba unless you go to a Wi-Fi park. So a lot of us didn't have our phones on us anyway. And then some more challenges being a lot of the footage that we have is not the best version of how we should portray some Emory and Henry students. There were some wild nights in Cuba that probably were not, that should never be seen. And so I think having to go around that, and we've had to translate interviews that we did with Cubans, and we've had to look at specific like guidelines and laws and stuff like that when it comes to how we were filming in some like clubs or public places. And then translating that into still making a documentary that can portray what Cuba was really like. So we finally have settled down on a like a plot, I guess, if that makes sense, for the documentary, and have really started to take a process, and we've had to do some additional interviews and do some post-trip feedback and thoughts from other students. But it's finally taken, all the challenges have kind of been pushed past, and we've finally gotten to a point where we can actually finish this.
Yeah, that's good. And just really quickly, maybe like what's like, last question real fast, what's maybe your favorite memory from Cuba? Maybe not a story, but it's your favorite memory.
My favorite memory? Oh, there are so many. But my favorite memory was probably all of us that went on the trip. We all came from different Greek organizations, we came from different majors. A lot of us didn't know each other, but there was one night we were in Viñales, which is like a really rural town, and a bunch of us just went to dinner one night and just sat there and like talked about life and drank rum and Coke and ate really good food, and it was just like one of those bonding experiences that you're never going to have again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the set today, and hope that maybe the documentary will continue to go well. Now I'm going to toss it over to this week's sports update with Evan Underwood.
What up, Wasp? I'm Evan Underwood with this week's sports update. This week, the Emory and Henry women's basketball team took to the road for a game versus Shenandoah. Junior forward Taylor Blevins led ENH with 16 points on 6 for 11 shooting and added 7 rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 assists. Sophomore forward Sydney McKinney made it back-to-back double-doubles for 13 points and 12 rebounds to go along with 4 assists and 2 blocks. Junior guard Tessa Johnston tackled on 10 points, while junior guard Chloe Harris had 7 points. The Wasps would win the game 74-68 to win their first ODAC game of the season and to improve to 5-1 on the season. The men's basketball team played Saturday night in a conference matchup versus Shenandoah. Molden led all players with 23 points, going 10 for 17 from the field and added 4 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 assists. Senior guard John Sheeler had 22 points, hitting a trio of 3-pointers and 3 boards, while Branscombe tackled 19 points, 6 boards, and 2 blocks. Junior guard Jarris Hendricks and sophomore guard Daniel Spencer added 6 points each off the bench, while junior forward Alec Wynn pulled down a game-high 19 rebounds. The Wasps would need 5 extra minutes to beat Shenandoah in overtime by a score of 87-82. The men are now perfect on the year at 5-0. The men take on Eastern Mennonite tonight. The game tips off at 7 o'clock in the King Center. It's also Star Wars night, so maybe the Force will be with the Wasp. The NH women took 4th while the men finished in 6th place. Well, Wasp, that's all I have for this week's sports update. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals, and a Happy New Year.
Hello, world. We will now. Hello, world. Welcome back to Your Sports Interview. Today we have with us a standout from the women's rugby team, Lauren Ray. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Lauren, first I want to talk about, I guess, the history with the women's team. Can you kind of tell me how far back it goes?
I personally do not exactly know how far back the women's team goes. I do know that they attempted to start a team last year, but it just kind of fell through because everyone had previous obligations, things of that nature. But I think that this year with the upcoming semester, we should be able to really pull a team together, go out for some 7s and maybe even a 15s game or 2.
Okay, I know that last year you guys did have a lot more girls come out and at least practice a lot and gather together. What happened to the numbers? I've seen kind of a decrease. So
I can't personally say because I'm not for sure, but I think that a lot of people they felt like everyone wasn't exactly serious about it, so they were just kind of like blew it off, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm hoping that if everyone actually shows motivation and dedication to the team, then we can pull other people in and hopefully build a team like the boys have.
Okay. Apart from the motivation and dedication, what do you think separates the guys' team from the girls' team? I know, is the scholarship still there available if they're not?
I know that there are scholarships available for the boys' team. I do not believe there are for the girls' team. And then the boys have the advantage of being able to pull people who have either quit football or quit soccer or things of that nature, and they already have the athleticism and things of that nature, whereas the girls really don't have a background in a contact sport, so therefore I feel like some of them are intimidated, whereas the boys kind of know what to expect.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about you personally. Did you play rugby prior to coming to college, or how did you get motivated to be a part of the team?
When I was in high school, I tried wrestling a little bit, and my dad didn't want me to do it because he was scared I would get hurt. But then when I came to Emory, I got really close with the guys' team, and I would go to their practices and things, seeing as I was their manager. And eventually I started practicing with them, and I was like, wow, this is really fun. And then I just kind of went out and did it, I guess. So.
Nice. Yeah, you have been extremely awesome to the team. I know that.
Thank you.
As the manager. Do you think it would be a possibility for, per se, I wrestled in high school and we had women wrestlers on the team, or do you think it would be a possibility to just join the men's team?
I've contemplated it, but I really don't know because I know that there is like a subconscious like difference between the male and female athletes, and therefore I feel like it wouldn't be able to mesh as easily as it would for like maybe intramural like basketball or something of that nature.
Okay, cool. The big news, you got to play, you're the first female player to play a rugby match in this past weekend. Can you kind of tell me about that? Because the whole process, I know you had to join someone's team.
Yeah,
so
I had to meet up with Roanoke's girls team. Their coach had been talking to our boys coach about it, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go out for it. So I went ahead and got SIP'd, which is the rugby insurance or whatnot. And then I just kind of showed up and talked to their coach. I was like, hey, do you want me to play? And he was like, yeah, sure, because Roanoke College is just now starting their girls team as well, so they're all rather inexperienced, I would say. And the girls just added me in, and we all played. We played 3 games, and we won our last game, actually, and it was just an awesome experience. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the guys, as you know, in the group chat, and I saw them carrying you away.
Yeah, they did, those boys.
What was it? How did you feel getting that victory and being able to play?
Going out, I was terrified, and I thought that I would surely be like annihilated on the field. But then after I got out there and realized that it wasn't bad at all, it was actually really fun. And then when I had an assist and we scored and we ended up winning that game, it was just like the most amazing feeling because everything that I've been working towards finally came together. So
awesome.
It was great.
I'm glad it played out well for you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming out on the show
Of course,
today.
thank you.
And thank you guys for watching. I will now pass it over to Will Seidel with the rant.
Listen, first off, I'm not feeling all the best and was this close to not coming in. However, I had heard multiple people mentioning this wonderful idea to their kids about doing this to inspire them to eat healthier. And I just could not pass up this opportunity. So here I am, and listen to this. So we all know Santa Claus, right? If you don't, then you might want to go get yourself checked out there. Well, we know the little tradition of leaving cookies and milk for Santa when he comes and delivers our presents or coal, right? We all know this. However, that tradition has just come under attack because I have heard from not one, not two, but many people that they were going to leave cucumbers, carrots, and other stuff and then tell their kids that Santa wants to eat healthy and that he wants you guys as well. Excuse me? If I'm Santa Claus and I've been to China, Germany, and Russia delivering packages and I got the munchies and I thought, you know what? At this next house, I'll stop and chow down some nice cookies and quench my thirst with some milk. And then I come down your chimney and I see cucumbers, carrots, and little round tomatoes with water? You know what? Forget you. If I'm Santa, I'm going to give you all the coal I have and then sing a tune in the form of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that goes something like this. Santa had gotten really mad. These people had left him carrots. So Santa left all his coal there and lit a match and burned the house down. Something like that. So parents, listen. Just stay in your lane, but think of it like this. Be the present that every kid goes to bed and hopes he finds under the tree the next morning and then gets really excited that he screams across the house. Don't be the present that is left in the stocking and then purposely left by us there until somebody mentions that we still have presents in the stocking. And then we have to act all surprised when we open them and we act like we had no idea that we got stockings, socks, deodorants, or all that junk. See my face? By doing what you were planning on doing, you will be looked at as the present in the stocking. Not cool, lame, dork. Doesn't have to be this way. Be cool, be accepted. Leave cookies and milk and be the present that every kid hopes for. You can do this. I believe in you. I believe in holiday miracles, and I believe this miracle can happen. I'm Will Seidel, and this was my plea for justice. Excuse me, this was my rant. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody.
Welcome to this week's edition of Tweet, Pray, Love, where we post an off-the-wall hashtag on Twitter, and the Peanut Gallery helps us respond. This week's Tweet, Pray, Love is about Christmas. So tell us, what do you want Santa to bring you? Livy says, to pass my bio exam, regain my will to live, and catch up on sleep. Oh, and T Swift concert tickets would be pretty great as well. Oh, yeah. Denicia Woods said, for Will to get his rant in on time. Christina Mitchell says, to make it through the end of the semester without it killing me. Same. That's all for this week's edition of Tweet, Pray, Love.
Hey high schoolers, are you interested in reporting?
How about
radio, television,
Graphic design?
Emory and Henry has the program for you. The Middle Appalachian High School Media Association is looking to recruit high school students. Put your media skills to the test at ENH's annual MASMA competition. Rewards for the competition includes scholarships to ENH. The Mass Communications program offers access to a number of great opportunities for students to get involved, from EHC TV to WEHC 90.7 to the Emory and Henry White Topper. Find out more at ehc.edu/media.
Okay, Abby, I don't know about you, but all this talk about senior projects has me both eager and nervous for graduation.
Yes, it has me so nervous. Like, after I leave this today, I just want to, like, go lock myself in my room and just try to figure out what else I have to do. Because I don't even know if I have anything else to do, but I feel like I do.
Yeah, I know what I have to do, and it's a lot, but I told you once, my theme is going to be extra credit for the rest of this semester.
Pretty good theme.
I bid you good luck for the rest of the semester.
You too. Well, thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode of EHC TV. I'm Abby Hathorn.
And I'm Khalil King.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.